Hey everybody, welcome back to Slavic Saturday, where we talk about Slavic history, mythology, and folklore. My name is Brendan Noble, author of the Frostmarked Chronicles, which is my fantasy series based on Slavic mythology. This week we're talking about the Polevik, which is a spirit of the fields in Slavic mythology. We're going to go into what this creature is about and what it looks like and how it relates to other things in Slavic mythology as well. But before I dive too far into the Polevik, if you are interested in that fantasy series that I'm working on called the Frostmarked Chronicles, or the first book in the series called A Dagger in the Winds, check out my links down in the description below to join my newsletter where you can receive free copies, potentially, of the book, as well as free copies of any of the side novellas that are being written inside the same world as the main series. Newsletter subscribers get exclusive access to those. But now, let's dive into the Polevik. So there's a big question sometimes with a lot of these creatures when we talk about on this series, and when it comes to spirits or demons. And the Polevik specifically is a spirit and not a demon. The difference is that spirits tend to be protectors of certain areas, kind of like tutelary deities often, like the Leshy or the Bannock. There's the Leshy having over the forest, the Bannock having over the bathhouse, and then the Polevik having at their control over the fields and plains. Demons, on the other hand, tend to be people who lived or died in an unnatural way, or sometimes they were born like that, but they tend to be these menacing human souls depending on the context, while spirits tend not to be human. So while the Polevik is often recognized mainly among the East Slavs, it does have some recognition elsewhere as well, but particularly it has a contrast with an often very famous demon called the Polonitsa, which is often known as the Noon Wraith as well. While the Noon Wraith is a demon of the fields in the noontime, the Polevik is a spirit of the fields often around noontime. So there's this connection here, but unlike the Polonitsa, which is a demon and has almost an entirely negative context, the Polevik can have positive and negative as a spirit. We'll talk about a little bit of the negative first, because spirits, as they're protectors of an area, they can be a little aggressive, and the Polevik is no different. It could range between trickery that was meant to keep a stranger out of its fields, or it could be anything as aggressive as choking you out while you sleep in its field. And one of the main things for the Polevik is that you don't misuse the field or plains that is protecting. It doesn't like laziness. It doesn't like people being drunk within its fields. So if you don't do one of those things and tick it off, it might actually be nice to you. They're thought to be very quick riders that they can either be used to help you or it can be used to trample you. And they have children as well that will explore the fields throughout the Polevik's territory, and if you're sleeping in it and they don't want you sleeping there, they will smother you. So, being able to stay on the Polevik's good side is going to be very important if you have one of these in your field. And the way to stay on the Polevik's good side is to give it a rooster that no longer crows, 2 eggs, and then staying away from its territory during the noon time that it's favorite time to come out. And if you do this, apparently it will stay happy with you and you don't have to deal with it trying to kill you. And if it is on your good side, it might even help you work in the fields and protect the fields for you from anyone type of invader or anything that might try to damage your crop. So there's a little bit of a give and take here that's positive, kind of similar to the Domovoy or Domovik or the Dvorovai that we talked about in earlier videos as well, where there's this aspect of negativity often, but if you manage to bribe them onto your side, these spirits can be helpful. So Polevik's appearance kind of ranges, but it often is described as a dwarf-like creature with fur that is either made of straw or grass or whatever's being grown in the field that they're protecting. They kind of are meant to embody the appearance of that field, and from what's in their hair to what their kind of skin's made of and what their fur is, all are meant to represent this. And because of this appearance, as well as being a protector of the area, they're kind of considered like the leshy of the fields, while the leshy could be trickery and might help you if they're in the forest if you're nice to it. The Polevik does the same thing in the plains and the fields, and also has this similar shaggy-like appearance. In popular culture, the Polevik appears in The Witcher, kind of as just a cameo a little bit in between the famous stories and books and video games and yada yada yada. There's a mention of the Polevik being a nude dwarf-like creature that is often known to sometimes cause problems, and that the only appearance one had seen of it was at a bard-like event in one of the cities. So, like often happens in The Witcher, sometimes there's a cameo of some of these demons that we talk about, and I think that's kind of fun. And then in my own series, the Frostmarked Chronicles, I don't have an appearance planned for the Polevik yet, and I haven't written an appearance of the Polevik yet, but like it's kind of connected to the Leshy, I think it would be kind of fun to include. It'll at least appear in one of the side novellas, though it may appear in the main story as well, because of the interesting aspects that you can have with the protection of a field, and many of the people being in this world, since it's based on the early Slavs, are farmers, and so fields are very common. And that's all I have for you today on this Slavic Saturday series. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to like and subscribe down below. I come out with these videos every Saturday.